Welcome back to another video, DIY Warriors. Today we are going to fix a lamp. Today's video comes from my unfinished basement, which is rather unelegant, but so this is what we're talking about today. We are going to be replacing this unit. This is a floor lamp, so it goes all the way to the floor, and my wife is going to throw it out. As you might imagine with kids, this thing has been tipped over during its lifetime about 8,000 times. So rather than just buy a new one, I'm going to see if I can go ahead and replace it. Alright, so the first step when working with anything electrical, obviously, is to make sure that whatever you're working on doesn't have power. So in this case, it's a lamp, so it's obviously not plugged into the wall. But you know, if you were working on anything electrical that was in the wall, obviously shut off the breaker, make sure you test it, so on and so forth. So the first step, and I'm doing this one-handed, is to actually remove the old wire, so you can get it out the bottom. So I'm doing this one-handed, so bear with me. So I'm just going to make a break there, make a break here, and then as you can see, everything is just going to come right off. And then what I can do from the bottom is just pull this wire completely out, the entire bottom of the length of the stand. So I went ahead and flipped the lamp on its side, and as you can see, the wire comes out the bottom, and then this actually goes to the plug where you plug it into the wall. So all you really have to do at this step is just yank the wire out, and you're ready for a new one. Alright, so back in the workshop now, just to kind of check out what we're replacing this with. This is a package I got at Home Depot. I think it was about $12. So when you consider the cost of a brand new lamp, which would, I don't know, probably be $60 plus, I would imagine, pretty significant cost savings there if we can get this project done, which I'm pretty certain we can. So it comes with everything that you need to do this, the wiring, and I'll take this out of the package so you can see a little bit more closely. But be careful if you do something like this. Be careful that you don't just tear this apart, because there's a good bit of directions on the back here that you can follow. And you know, they'll use this as a guide as we go through this, but you know, if I were to tear this all apart, I wouldn't be able to see it, so I'm going to be kind of careful when I open this package up. So I've gone ahead and taken everything out of the packaging. Obviously, good bit of wiring there, and just some other, the switch here, some nuts and bolts, and washers, and then the lamp shade holder here. And actually, on my lamp, I was able to, this lamp comes in sections. You could actually screw them together. So I was actually able to take the very top section off, which is great, because I'll kind of be able to show you how to wire this thing up in my workshop, which is cool. Alright, so I ran into a little bit of a snafu here. That happens sometimes, and I'm going to try to figure this out. So over here, this is the new hardware for the lamp, and come to find out, this is the lamp post. This screw right here is actually the wrong size. So I took the old hardware, fortunately I salvaged it, and you'll see there's quite a big difference there. So the difference between both sockets is pretty significant. So I'm going to have to MacGyver the crap out of this thing between both the old components and the new components, and hopefully we'll come up with something. So first we'll look at the sockets. Actually, it goes that way. Pretty different size. Obviously the threads are different, so that's the major hang up for this. But what I'm going to try to do is see if I can pull out, this comes right out, see if potentially I can use that with the old. Again, I'm not swapping out wire sizes or doing anything with voltage, so I'm not overly concerned. I'm a little bit concerned that this new unit is made out of it's surrounded by cardboard. It's just a cardboard tube. Makes me a little bit nervous about that getting really hot, but maybe that's the standard. I don't work with lamps very often, so someone comment below if that's normal. I'm inclined to actually take that off, but I don't know. So I'm going to check another component to see if it can interchange with the old, because this is called the harp, and this goes around everything and holds the lampshade on top. But as you can see, again, here's the new one. Here's the old one, right? So you can clearly see that the old one is bigger. So that screw, the old screw is not going to fit through that. So I'm going to see if this works, if these are interchangeable, or if not, I'm kind of totally screwed. So we'll take the old harp and put it in with the new harp, and see if it will work with the old harp bottom, which looks like it does. Look at that. Sweet. That will work. All right, now we're in business. All right, so the next step is to take this, the directions call this the long nipple. I don't know about you guys, but I don't really like long nipples, so we're going to go ahead and call this the hollow bolt. How about that? All right, so you just feed the wire through here. This is an old component, so not from the new package. And we're going to go ahead and screw that right in. I realize I said nipple and package in the same sentence. I apologize for that. So again, the old component here, this is the neck. So this just kind of hides everything. Goes right over there, I think. Maybe I'm missing something. I am missing something. Hang on. So the neck had a little collar. Imagine that. So we're just going to put this thing in here. These can just kind of be put right on top there. Go all the way to the bottom. Now the neck can go on like so. And then that can be topped with this guy here, the other collar. And then that sits right on there like that. I'll tighten this up. Just gotta get everything in line here. Then on top of that sits the neck bolt. That just kind of holds this whole neck collar sort of tight. Again, you're just feeding all of these over the wire, and go ahead and we'll screw this thing. I'll tighten that up. Pretty easy to do. Now, actually, you know what? I think the harp's going to go on first, so let's back that off. Sorry about that. I'm actually going to take the harp off and just use the harp bottom for now. That way the harp doesn't get in the way. Put the guy on there like that. Again, I'm totally MacGyver in this, so I might not be doing it perfectly by directions. In fact, I know I'm not. I'm just trying to get this thing to work. That's the whole goal. Sometimes you have to improvise and figure it out, which is what we're doing here. We're getting there. Look at this. Tighten this up a little bit. You don't have to go too crazy. Get a C. Get a crescent wrench maybe and tighten that up. But for now, it's good. So next we're going to take the socket cap, put that on. Again, this is an old component. Screw that in. There we go. Now I'll separate the wires a little bit just to give a little slack. That way when we connect them to the terminals, it'll be a little bit easier. Next, the directions say to create, I don't know if you can see this, what's called an underwriter's knot. Right there. Of course, everybody knows what an underwriter's knot is, right? No, but actually, I was kind of curious, so I did a little research, and actually, it's again, I'm sure any electrician's probably laughing at me watching this right now, but it's actually a really important knot, because what it actually does, and I'll make an attempt here, is it apparently prevents the knot from from pulling it out of the terminal. So if you have kids or someone's trying to yank a cord or whatever, this will actually prevent, it'll pull on itself, and it won't pull these connectors out of the socket itself. So it's a pretty important step that I'm sure a lot of people would skip. But as I looked it up, it definitely made sense to include this step. So now we're going to connect the wiring to this new socket, and the first thing I have to do is take it is the neutral wire and connect it to this silver terminal here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we attach that to the silver one. Now we're going to take the other wire and connect it to this brass one here. Make sure it's pretty tight. Looks good. So then our underwriter's knot probably could be a little tighter, to be honest with you, but you can probably adjust it up a little bit. Again, that's going to save from when someone pulls on the cord from having it pull on here. It's pulling on the knot instead. So that's a new one today that I learned. Pretty cool. Yahtzee. All right, so that was, at the end of the day, that was successful. It took a little while to get there. It certainly wasn't what I thought was going to happen going into this project. I thought it was going to be a really quick swap out from the old components to the new ones, but I had to actually marry them. And these are things that happen with DIY projects sometimes. You just, you have a plan, you have an idea in your head, and you have to improvise. And really, that's kind of what it's all about, and sort of somewhat of the fun of it. But I was pretty happy to have been able to do that. Again, it wasn't what I had envisioned it would be, but I was able to make it work, and that's pretty cool. So thanks again for watching, and hope you learned something today. If you have a comment, if I did something wrong, feel free to comment below. Otherwise, hey, keep getting those projects done, keep being a DIY warrior, and I will see you next time.